You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Dean Johnson.
From the AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AfterBuzz TV's Homeland After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AfterBuzz TV's Homeland After Show.
Well, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us. Bing is for doing, and we are doing another AfterBuzz TV After Show for Homeland, Season 2, Episode 8. I'm your host, John Comerford. I'm joined in the studio by...
I'm Roth Cornett, Entertainment Editor for IGN.
And also...
Jenna Bush, Entertainment Editor for Manhattan.
And to my right...
Thaddeus Massey. You don't know? Ask somebody.
There you go. And our very special guest, very happy to have him here, that terrorist extraordinaire, the masterful manipulator, Navid Negaban.
Navid.
Very good. Amazing today, by the way. One word, and you had everybody just reeling. One line, not even a line, one word, and it just killed us. All right, and in our special segment, we'll talk more about Navid's vision of Abu and the show itself. But before we get into that, we want to talk about tonight's episode, which, well, of course, I mean, how can you not talk about that last reveal?
Exactly.
Which was just chilling.
And wonderful. I've been waiting for the return.
Yes.
I've been really missing
The return of Abu.
I have. I'm serious, because I've really been missing that relationship with Brody, because I think that added such a great element to his character, and it helped us understand a lot of his motivations, which I think has been missing a little bit this season.
Yeah.
So I'm glad to see it back.
Yeah, definitely.
That was good, and, but at the same time, you can see how he's struggling, the struggle within with him. So
Yeah, for
that
sure.
was good. The reveal was good.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yes, it was.
Struggle within the conflict because you've manipulated the hell out of him.
Yes.
So, which is going to be fun.
Yes, I'm excited to talk to you about that, about how you guys kind of created that dynamic, but I know we're not there yet.
Yeah, I know. So why don't we start off? We wanted to talk about Dana and her whole storyline, how she goes to Mike. And
Dana.
All right. You obviously have some things to say about that.
Well, I do have to mention something about the Saturday Night Live skit where
I was totally thinking of this, but not so much during the Dana scene, more during the scene when Brody and Carrie are in the hotel, and Saul's like, it's okay, man, but, you know, Carrie's on top of it, she's making it
on
happen.
top of it, nice. Jeez, Roth, every week you just walk right into those.
Yeah, she's amazing at those.
It's how you choose to interpret what I say and do. It's not what I say. So
It always seems to happen with her.
In any event, she, you know, I thought it was so, because in the Saturday Night Live sketch, it's like Carrie's clearly nowhere near capable of doing anything, and Saul's like, she's the best in the biz, man. I swear, just trust her. I was kind of having that moment tonight where, you know, their faces are like, really? Because are you hearing this, Saul? Because it's kind of crazy to me.
Well, okay, so I just wanted to point out that, like, I know I've said this before, but I really like Dana, and I liked what she did this week. I thought that was really cool. I mean, we sort of predicted that she was going to go to Mike.
Right.
She did, and I really actually liked watching that relationship. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, we'd never really seen that, so that was nice that they painted that for us, because that was a nice filled-in part of her.
Yeah.
She had nowhere else to go at this point.
Yeah.
I think she had no other adult that she was trusting, and I think that Dana's I love Dana too, because she's the one, and I think what they're doing that's so clever is that she has been the one that has had the greatest amount of outward integrity. Like her inward integrity matches her outward action. She really wants to do the right thing in a way that I think most human beings don't. I think most human beings will be like, oh, you covered it up, I'm so sad. Phew. You know what I mean? Like people, I think a lot of people would be happy to get away with that without having to have actually done anything wrong themselves. But Dana's really, 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 as you said before, Thaddeus, the conscious of the show, and she wants to do the right thing. So this is what's cool about this is watching them break her down. Yeah. And she's going to probably have to become a bit cynical about the way the world really works.
Yeah, I really like the way she was asking Mike about, you know, when you had to. When Dad came back, you had to leave, and he said, "Yeah, but I knew exactly what I had to do." And then she said, "Well, and you did it." And she was surprised by that because obviously her parents aren't really able to do that at the moment. But
yeah, he did the right thing, and so she did, and I think that was
nice.
I think that was really cool. Also, I think some of us, and I don't know about you guys, but I was sort of thinking that like maybe. She had that teenage thing of I just want to get this out of the way, and that it wasn't going to follow through, and that once it was done, it was going to be like, oh crap. But she really did follow it through enough that she went to speak to the daughter, which I thought was.
But well, whose comment was? I don't know if it was Roth, and I don't want to. If it wasn't, I beg your pardon. But I thought I heard somebody say, "Boy, this family makes stupid choices."
Yeah.
Or something.
This family makes a lot of stupid decisions.
Yeah.
I mean, they really do. I'm not saying I like that Dana wanted to do the right thing, but she was walking into a very emotionally volatile situation with not a lot of information. And yeah, she's 16, but it just seemed like maybe we take steps. Yeah. You know what I mean? We don't.
Well, I just thought it was weird why Mike didn't go up with her. I mean, that would go up to the house you don't know.
Right.
What the hell is that?
Especially he knew the situation. It wasn't like she was like, oh, I'm going to do a sleepover at my friend's house.
Exactly, because if anything, the girl really just could have hauled off and kind of given her a beat down.
I thought she was going to get the gun when she said, oh, let me put the kid down real quick. I was like, run. Something's going to happen right here.
But yeah,
she knew who she was.
She did, and I mean, I think that we see, understandably, they do a lot of understandable stupid things. You know what I mean?
Well,
they make a lot of.
We have to.
Well, they make a lot of understand. I mean, you know, Jessica. I know we were saying this week. Come on, man. What do you? But to be fair to Jessica, and this is going to be the interesting thing because I think I'm going to actually be the one defending.
Well, this is the first.
I know.
AfterBuzz TV exclusive. She's backing up Jessica.
AfterBuzz TV exclusive.
Roth Cornett has Jessica's back.
Exactly. For the very first time on our after show, I have Jessica's back because we're assuming that she has the information and she doesn't. You know what I mean? When she says, tell the CIA to back off, okay, we all know you can't really tell the CIA to back off, but she also doesn't know that they have him by the... Yeah. You know,
give me the number, I'll call them.
Okay. Well,
really?
Well, okay.
To be fair, how do you... 1-800-CALL CIA. 1-800-CALL CIA.
Let her make her point. Hold on.
That's a fair point. Give me the number, but I think she probably meant the number of your direct contact. And yes, she's not talking about calling the school principal. I get that. And it was a rather silly thing to say. Absolutely.
But it showed chutzpah.
But no, not that it showed chutzpah. But the truth is that she doesn't know that he's a terrorist. She doesn't know that he's working with the CIA against his will in lieu of going to the death, you know what I mean, to going to the electric chair. Because if he was to be tried, he would be executed. Treason is punishable by death, period. Right. He would be executed. So she doesn't have all that information. All she knows is that of his own free will, he's out of the goodness of his heart working with the CIA. And she's saying, well, stop then. Yeah. You know, because you're in the power position. She doesn't know that he's absolutely not.
Okay. Yeah. Now, this is what I have to say to that.
Here it comes.
Tell me that.
Okay. When he explained to her what was going on, he said he was helping the CIA in matters of
national
security. And he's a congressman, correct? That is not something you're like, you know what, this is not a really good time. You know, my family is, the CIA national security is kind of affecting my family right now. So that doesn't really correlate. So he's not really in a position, like Jessica should have stepped back and said, okay, CIA, he's doing something with the CIA. Is she that dense where she would not think that he's going to divulge or is supposed to or even can? That doesn't even make sense.
Well,
so he can only tell her so much. And anybody with half a brain would be able to be like, okay, this is above my head.
Well, I think it's just that she's been doing things like this over and over. Like she immediately tells Mike, well, hey, he's working for the CIA. And she's like, don't tell her I told you, but she totally killed someone with a car.
Yeah, but she says it first, then goes, don't tell her. But it's like, why don't get the promise? I mean,
yeah, but don't we have people like that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we got all the time.
We all
exists.
have been
It all. Yeah.
come
yeah.
across those people.
Oh yeah.
Sure.
Because I didn't really take her seriously, only because I thought she was so desperate, like, "Well, do something, and if you're not going to do it, I'll do it." I don't think she was really going to call the CIA or think that she was going to get, she was just frustrated because he wasn't going to do anything, so fine, I'll do it. You know, it was just one of those things. I didn't think
To be fair, I actually want to hear that phone call. Hello,
Yeah,
CIA.
that
How
would
can
be
we
good.
help you?
It's Jessica.
It's Jessica. My husband's being a pain in the ass.
And I'm
I'd like
calling
you to back off.
There you go.
I mean,
That's it.
this is the thing, like, exactly. I took it more like in the heat of the moment.
Yeah.
You just say things, even if they're not things that totally make sense, because you're
Yeah.
trying to break through to him to say, I want you to understand how desperate and dire this situation is. Our daughter was a part of a hit and run. Things just got very real for us here. It's not like she's skipping school. You know what I
Right.
mean? She is an accessory to murder, and she's about to get away with it, and we're raising her to go off in the world. This isn't all right, and I don't care what you have to do. Fix it. I really don't care what you have to
Yeah.
do.
And-
And I felt like that's more
That's
where
what
she was
that's what I
coming from.
wanted her to say.
Yeah.
I don't care
Right.
what you have to do, just fix it.
Right.
Yeah.
Because that's what she should have said.
Well, and
That's what
I
I
think
wanted
that's what
her
she
to say.
was
Yeah.
emotionally
But then,
saying.
but I can't give her any going to Mike and blabbing it, and then
Yeah,
so
well,
what did she
the
want?
Mike thing is a different story where
Yeah.
you're like, really, Jessica? Like, but she's just that person that she obviously isn't in the CIA. She's not Brody. She's not a person that has made their life being the keeper of secrets.
Right.
Thank God. She would be horrible at her
She
job.
sucks at it.
Yeah, but she's just a regular person who is well over her head with all of this, you know?
Yeah, I mean, she doesn't know half of what's going on.
Yeah.
And Brody is well over his head. I mean, the guy had a
clearly.
nervous breakdown in the hallway.
Oh, he does tend to
Let's
curl
talk
up in the fetal position fairly often.
He does that.
Jeez.
He needed some warm milk and honey.
I think there's very particular reasons why he might
Yes.
curl up in a fetal position. Do you have anything to say about that?
Well,
Any reason why that might have happened to him?
you never know what happened during those 8 years.
That's right.
So
You
there's
know,
been lots of ups and downs.
that's-
But I have to tell you guys, I enjoyed this as much as I enjoyed the show. I love it. I mean, the show is doing something right. I
Yes,
mean, if you guys are
exactly.
sitting and dissecting each character, and
Yeah.
you're going for good or bad, and each character how they should be behaving and
Yeah.
how they behave, I think that's what the show is about. I mean, for the audience to start
Yes.
thinking about the situation that we are in right now and see what are we doing, what would I do in that given situation, given moment,
Yeah.
and that's something that I don't know. You guys have been watching more shows. I think we haven't had a show like this
Yeah.
that makes the audience to sit back and think, how would I behave in that given situation to deal with the national security, to deal with our relationship with the foreign countries and how we are dealing with the different people. And that's what the show was supposed to do. And
Yeah.
I love it. When I'm sitting and watching you guys, I'm saying, Mom, not bad. We did something okay. So I'm watching. You go at it. Sorry.
Yeah, I think you're clearly doing something okay.
Yeah, I'd say.
Okay.
We'll take it. It is great for that reason because every single character, I think, is complex in that way. And I actually think I love your character. I mean, I really do. And I find your character very complex because we've had the chance to get to know these other characters and sort of see some of their motivations, but we haven't seen much of Abu Nuzir, where he came from,
Yeah, we
why
don't know anything of his
you know what I mean? We
backstory.
don't know really his backstory. We can make some guesses.
Write it on the wish list, send it to Santa. Maybe we can get something on it. Are you guys listening to this?
let's talk
Are you
more
guys
about
listening
that.
to this? Let's talk about it.
Yeah, this would be good. We'll talk more about that. But,
You
since we
never
just
know.
brought it up, because my big question was, how much of Abu Nazir's history did they tell you, and how much have you just created because
Right.
your own work as an actor, you have to fill that in. So have they given you a backstory? Have you adopted one? Have you created one? Is there a percentage?
They gave me a bio.
Okay, your bio,
It's
okay.
2 paragraphs.
That's it?
Yeah, they gave me a bio
Uh-huh.
with a description of the character and what they thought the character would be.
Uh-huh.
And the first meeting that I had with Howard Gordon and Alex Gonza, when we sat in the room and we discussed the character, we talked about it, and all of us, we saw the character as just as a human being, as
Yeah.
a man, being put in certain situations, and he has to react to it.
Right.
And then I went on the internet and I tried to do some research, and there are lots of personalities out there with a similar background. So I started to study them, just to go and find out where they came from, where they went to school, and lots of them, they were educated in Western countries, and put them together as a stew, basically as a stew. But I've said it before, Abu was born. If you guys remember the pilot, the first episode of the first season, at the ending, when I have, when I'm taking him in my arms, I'm thinking about it. It just makes me, at that given moment, Abu was born. It was such a tense moment. It wasn't in the script, so we were still trying to figure out who we are as the characters. Everybody had some kind of understanding of the character, so we went in, and at that moment when he's standing there and he's beating a walker, and I'm walking in, and Damian, the way that he walks is so, it comes very genuine in the moments, and when you lock eyes with him, you forget that you're on the set. I mean, all of them, they're fantastic actors. I love being there. But on that given moment, the moment that I saw him breaking down, and I took him, and he dropped himself in my arms, and I held his head, and he was shaking. He was truly shaking. He wasn't acting. He was really shaking because he let everything go. That was when Abu was born, or the relationship, the connection between them. It was very powerful. To me, it was very powerful.
I think one of the questions I have, because a lot of times in this show, you're wondering, you have these dynamics. Saul and Carrie are kind of father-daughter, you know, as comes out very
And she even
overtly
said,
this
I'm
week.
not your daughter.
I'm not your daughter. And so, but sometimes you're wondering how much are they playing up to that to get what they want? And then certainly with Carrie and Brody, you're like, how much are they, even this week, how much is she playing him and how much is this real? And then with Abu Nazir and Brody, I wonder how much is Abu Nazir playing him and how much does he have a real genuine affection for Brody? Because Brody really loves him, but he's been manipulated to love him in a way. So for you, how much do you think your character really has a genuine affection for Brody, and how much of him has to be in the mind of like a general going, but I still have something to execute and I have a goal I'm trying to get to, and this is a tool for me?
Well, Abu has sent one of his own brothers to the suicide mission.
Right.
So I mean, it doesn't matter how much he loves his brother, but the mission is there, and they have to go. I mean, this is only one way to go. To me, as a character, Abu, the way that I'm looking at it is that Brody has kind of taken the place of the brother, the one that he is like a piece of puzzle that to Abu was broken. So he mixed it in the box and put it back together, and now it looks exactly what he wanted it to look. And now he sets it free, and he says, "Okay, I hope that it's going where I want him to go." And but at the same time, I think that when it comes between the mission and the personal desires or personal loves, I think Abu will always go for what he's set to do.
Whatever the goal is.
Yeah.
Whatever
Well,
the goal is.
paramount.
In a way, he has that in common with Carrie, I think, because, you know, Carrie is obviously still in love with Brody, but I think that, you know, she'll get rid of everything in her life for the mission, even if she loves somebody, even if she cares about somebody.
Yeah.
So that's really cool to hear.
That's one of the things that I like about the show, because it compares the people, and it says, okay, you're here. How would you behave if I put you here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then comparing both sides together, and you see that they both are doing the same thing.
Right.
And that's one of the things that we always forget, because I have to. I hope. Especially, okay, let me think about it. I don't want to get myself in trouble because it's very tricky. See,
Yes.
I believe all of us, every time we are behaving towards certain situations or given situation, and the seed, the origin of all our behaviors and emotions is love. We love something, that's why we are fighting to get it. We love someone, that's why we become jealous. We love we love to see ourselves somewhere, that's why we are motivated to move forward. So that's the origin of all the emotions and behaviors. So when you look at all these people, it doesn't matter where we are, our soldiers here, they are going and they are fighting for love of the country, to defend us. And what they hear is that you have to defend the country, you have to defend your people, you have to do this, you have to do that. So there's a love has been created and discipline, and this is my honor. That's what I need to do. For love of honor, I will go and I will fight. If we want to stay fair, if we look to the other side, we see that the other side is doing the same thing. The other side loves his beliefs, loves his God or the way that he sees his mission. For the honor of God, he's going and he's fighting. Now, both of them, they have their own styles and their own techniques to fight. But at the same time, I believe all of us, we have God inside us. Because all the religions, when you look around, all the religions, they are saying Adam and Eve, God blew his breath into the clay, Adam and Eve were created, and all of us are descendants from that, if we go religiously. So if that's the case, then genetically, we all have piece of that breath inside us. So how can we go around and kill God in the name of God? Because when you're attacking someone, that person has that piece of God that was given to him inside him. It doesn't matter what religion he is from. He was created by the same creator. So therefore, we need to think twice before disrespect someone. I mean, I'm sorry.
That was great.
No,
that was great.
I believe sometimes we forget that the person who's standing in front of us is the same as us. It doesn't matter what color, it doesn't matter what religion. He has the family. If I cut him, he will bleed. His blood is as red as my blood if I cut my hand. So why would I do that?
I think you're right, and I think the show does do a good job of setting characters up in a comparison consistently every week. They do it with all of the the characters. You kind of see parallels with them, and definitely I see parallels with Abu Nuzir, and they're both, and Carrie, where they're both totally committed to, above everything else, to what they think is right and what they think their job is. I really genuinely would like to see more exploration with your character, because we haven't seen much of that.
I'm sure we'll get
and
some
I think
more
it will
backstory.
help people to contextualize that and go, okay, well, where are people really coming from? Why are they doing what they do?
So you never know. Maybe we're gonna have how do you say when one thing starts from one show and goes to another show? How do you call that?
Spin-off?
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 You want an Abu spin-off?
Explain the spin-off. I don't understand. Are you guys hearing? The?
It'll be like a House of Nazir. No, no.
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
Why not? We can go to the back when he was going to school here in America and how he was causing trouble at this. There are stories you can write about him.
Right. That's funny.
Start your writing campaign now. Tweet.
No, you guys. Let's see. Go on Twitter. No.
Tweet.
No, the thing is that sometimes. By the way, you gave an actor a microphone, so you can stop whenever you want.
Cut it now.
Yeah, cut it. No, see, the thing is that one of the things that we forget here, because especially in America, we are kind of we are somehow separated from the rest of the world. We have our own world here in America, And sometimes when someone comes from outside who looks a little bit different, then we are kind of afraid to even get to know the person, or the person it looks different. So I don't want to get to know the person. Well, I have to tell you guys a story. Sometimes when they're talking, for example, about Iran, I remember I grew up during the revolution. I grew up during war. And I remember when I was going to high school, when I was in 12th grade, it was during the war between Iran and Iraq, and we didn't have enough soldiers, so they were offering all the high school kids, whoever wants to go to war, they can go only for 6 months to school, and then 6 months front line, and then they can go to university if they want, and they will pay for some of the universities. So lots of kids, they would go there. So you come back to school, and all of a sudden you see that in one of the desks is sitting a red tulip. A red tulip, when you open it, and the center is black and everything else is red, represents a bullet wound. So you knew that the person is not coming back. Wow. So we, especially my generation and generations after me, we went through that. And when we are coming here, America represents, America to us is what America don't get me wrong, used to be. You know,
Okay.
the land of opportunities, land of freedom. I remember when I was a kid, I used to dress as a cowboy, and I have pictures that I'm wearing cowboy hats and my 6-shooter and all those things. So that's what I was.
Did you bring any of those?
Actually, I do. No, actually, I do. I have
I would love to see
pictures. I should have brought some of those pictures. I have pictures with the 6-shooter. Now, here, I used to do live stunt shows. I used to do Western shows. And I have my 6-shooter on my hat with this cigar. Clint Eastwood was. But see, the thing is that we are no different. The problem is that we are sometimes so busy and so involved with ourselves that we forget to look out and see other people, see who they are, where they are coming from. And
I think that's a good point. I think that's a very good point. And then Roth was, expounding on that earlier. I've thought about that like the last at least 3 or 4 episodes. I'm like, I want to see more of Abu Nazir. Like, I want to see what's up with this character. I want to see who could do this brain job on, the character has been created in such a way that he's more than a leader, so to speak. It's not a pointless mission. There is meaning behind it. There's definition. It's like, it gives you that feeling. Anybody who doesn't, stand for something will fall for anything, kind of cliche value type of thing. So you're sitting here like, man, the writers are so good. I think if they expounded really and got deep on your character further than what they were, it would probably raise more anti-American sentiment, because you'll probably really start to like this character. And I've always felt like, I say they can't go too far into this character, because any guy that has that kind of psychological power to make somebody like to change their, I mean, this guy was a soldier. You go to the service, they break you down, they build you back up. These guys are like programmed. So in order to break somebody down and build them back up again, that's pretty profound. To me, it's pretty deep. And when you look at the effect that he's had on this character, on Brody wasn't just doing it. It started off, everything obviously morphed into, my family's at stake and all this, but it didn't start off like that. It started from a very, very organic, a very palatable, I can believe this. These are very ethical things that Brody is believing in, and for the right reasons, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? So you would kind of have to look at it like, well, if you see an extra 3 or 4 episodes of going further into Abu Nazir and why he's doing what he's doing, then you may get a lot of people on the show is like,
Right.
Abu Nuzair, yeah.
Yeah, but
Abu Nuzair. You know what I mean?
You are right, but
Yeah.
at the same time, see, those you're afraid. You're saying that if they go deeper into the Abu Nazir, then they might be anti-American, more anti-American emotions or feelings come out. But the way that I'm seeing it, a coin has two sides.
Right.
The way that I'm seeing it is that sometimes the issues that we have, the problems that we have here in America, is because of the things that has happened, and we don't know why.
Right.
We don't know why they hate us.
Right.
We don't know why they're coming over here to fight us. We don't know why we don't know why when I'm walking in certain countries with my American passport, the authorities, they look at me kind of funny, even though that my passport, my American passport that I'm very proud of, it should be getting me into every country.
Right.
Right.
When I'm walking, but then when I open my mouth, and I say, oh, I'm from Iran. Oh, come, let me pour you a tea.
Right.
Why? Why is this like that?
Right.
So when we see it, maybe we can start. Maybe we can have a ground zero. Say, okay, you know, we have done things that we are not very proud of, and we have done things that we have created some enemies.
Right.
So let's start from now, and from now we are not going to do what we used to do, which is going to give us the same result as it has given us so far.
Right.
Right.
So maybe we change our behavior, and the way that we are looking at the world would be different. You cannot. Geez, you guys are going to get me in trouble. I can't keep my mouth. See, the thing is that you cannot promote freedom by destroying freedom.
Right. You can't.
Right.
You
can't-
cannot promote liberty by taking away liberty.
Right.
That's one of the things. You have to make the people see it, make the people understand. My dad used to tell me, oh, I had all these crazy ideas, and my dad used to tell me, oh, you cannot go and change the world. I said, Dad, I don't want to change the world. I want to change myself. If someone sees who I am, if they like, they might do what I do. If they don't want to do that, at least I'm happy with myself. I am who I want to be. I look at the things, and the way that I see it, this saying always plays in my head. I don't know where I read it. I don't know where I heard it, but it has always had an impact on me. You can see the truth when you are blind, and you can hear the truth when you are deaf. Don't go in with preconceived notions that, oh, this cup that is there is coffee in there. Or maybe it's water, or maybe it's juice in there. So as long as you don't see it for yourself, you don't know what it is. Now you're trying to see what it is. Tell me what is in there.
It's water.
It's water, see?
It's water.
So
It's water.
That's
or
what
Grey
it's very
Goose.
tricky.
Yeah. I'd actually just like to point out that we got a tweet, and it's from Father Wizard, and he says, please ask that handsome guest to stop blowing my mind.
So you're blowing
There you
every.
go.
A, you're handsome, and B,
Yeah.
you're blowing every mind.
Wait a minute. I shouldn't use that term for terrorists.
It's
crying
kind
out
of
loud.
That's a good point.
You're a bomb.
There
that's
you go.
You're the bomb.
Nice.
Exactly.
You're the bomb.
That's
Okay.
hilarious. I mean, I think what you're saying, I think what the show's done a really good job of doing is keeping it at the personal level. And so when they wanted us to understand where Brody was coming from, they introduced, yes, he got broken down and rebuilt, so we understood that the real affection was there between these two characters. And then there was this child.
Yeah.
And so you understand, if you love a child and that child is killed, you're furious and you want revenge on the death of this child. And so they did a really good job of bringing it down to the emotional, visceral, personal level. I think what also might be interesting now that you're talking about all people are the same is to illustrate that some of these sort of factors, these international factors, are coming from decisions that people are making that are not us, you know,
Right.
like, and that go back years and years and years, and that
Yeah.
have to do with economics, and that have to do with, you know, industry and things that have the everyday people are suffering. And children are suffering based on decisions that have nothing to do with them.
That's it. That's it. See, we went over there. We went to Afghanistan, and we wanted to save Afghanistan from Russia, which I've seen home videos from Afghani people who they showed me, and during the time that they were with the Russians, they were there, it wasn't that bad. I mean, it didn't look that bad. It was everybody very elegant. Everybody's going to work. The universities and everything was there. We went over there, and instead of helping Northern Alliance, instead of helping Amacho Massoud and his people, who were the nationalists and who were the freedom fighters of Afghanistan, we went down to Pakistan and that area, and we gave the weapons to Talibans. The Talibans, they are religious students. They are cut and dry. There is just black and white. Is either you are or you are not. If you are not, you are condemned. Okay? So we went and we gave the weapons to them. We weren't educated, but what we thought, or what they thought at that time, they thought that we're going to go over there, we're going to let the religion take care of communism and go and attack them. And instead of giving the weapon to the nationalists who they just wanted to have the freedom of the country, they were not that much against the communism. They didn't care about communism. They just want to have their own country.
Right.
Okay? So we went over there and we gave the weapons to them, and then we have a picture with, for example, President Reagan is sitting there, that all these heads of Taliban that right now they're fighting against us, all those people are sitting around the table, and he's saying, these gentlemen are the freedom fighters that we have to help. So we were uneducated, or maybe we wanted to do that.
Wow.
Because as long as they are fighting with each other,
my enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Yeah.
So why don't we kill each other, and then we step back and we watch and say, okay, whatever is left is ours.
It works every time.
It does.
That ended well.
Well, and that was done many times in many places,
Yes.
like definitely all over South America.
And again, always successfully.
That's
and
the
always
motto here.
successfully.
Which is why we should keep doing it.
But I think that context is a little bit sometimes lost. I mean,
Right.
it's just not taught that often. But and that's unfortunate. So it's great when you have a program that people are watching, if you can kind of get some of that in. We're not really there yet. I think we're keeping, and the show, and I think understandably so, the writers are keeping it at that personal level at this point, instead of trying to get a lot of facts and history and context in. But I think that you can keep it at that personal level and get some of that stuff in by going into a backstory, like from,
Yes, and
again, let's start the campaign now.
Let's see what's going on. Yeah, backstory would be good.
because then somebody's not sitting there and just listing off a bunch of
Rote
facts and figures and
I know. And see, the thing is that, for example, there's a video. Can I talk about another video? Can I mention name?
Another what?
Yeah.
What?
Another video? Yeah. No, there's a video on YouTube. I love this video. It's "Don't Tell My Mother I Was in Iran." The director goes around the world. He has series of videos. Don't tell my mother I was here. Don't tell my mother I was there. And the way that he goes and he gets mixed into the community, and he talks to the people and he videotapes them, and then he edits everything and puts them together. If you get a chance, please watch that video, or just Google images of Tehran, ski resorts, or camping in Iran. And when you watch those images, you see the people that are saying that they're your enemies. There's not much difference. I mean, you look at the guys, some of those guys, the hairdos that they have is funkier than anybody else that you have ever seen. I mean, it's crazy. It's just like this. So, and I'm sitting there. But you need to get to know people before you go and call them names. That's how that.
Well, this is interesting. Let me talk a little bit further about that, because you mentioned a few times about. Well, let me ask you this then. A lot of actors, when they're playing a quote villain or bad guy or whatever, they try not to judge the character. They just want to understand them. They don't want to. What's the term that they always say? They want to humanize the character, and it sounds like you come from just what is their motivation, what's their drive, what is it that they love. So how was it that when you were layering Abu, did you just come from what's his base, what's his core belief?
I went for a core.
Yes, you did. Okay, so
went
that's
for
you
a core
came that
because
way
everything else that is happening to us is because of the situations that we were put in. So you cannot go and play even a serial killer.
Yeah.
He thinks that he is saving people.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, he is not a killer. He is not a villain. He is a savior. So you cannot go and judge your character, but at the same time, as an actor, I try not to. It's kind of tricky. See, I'm a backpacker. I'm a gypsy. So I travel from countries to countries, and I went wherever I went, and I started to get to know the people. I work in the black boxes. I work in teeny tiny holes in the wall. That I went there if it was any kind of music or any kind of performance, I try to go there and learn something from them. It might sound kind of creepy, but I'm a people watcher.
Well, yeah, you're an actor. You have to be. You gotta.
I get a cup of
study
coffee.
people.
I go to the bus stop and I sit there. I have nothing to do, and I'm sitting back and I'm watching people. I watch the way that they're shaking each other's hands, the way that they're getting into the bus, and the way that they're coming out. There are people who are walking, and they don't want to be touched, and they don't want to touch anyone. And then there is another one that puts his hand on someone's back and says, "No, please, you go first." So you see all that, and then you understand who the person is. And to me, it was very. I'm very hungry for getting to know people. And when I'm traveling around, it doesn't matter where I'm going. I try not to judge people. I try to be kind of blank, and I'm going in and whatever comes at me. That's how I'm dealing with my characters usually. I try not to judge them. Just
Well, and a lot of your colleagues, when the series first started, they had concerns about doing a show with the subject matter. Did you have any concerns about it? Were you having reservations? What was your feeling about it?
No, see, because I've told some of my friends. They told me, why would you do that? For example, when I did the stoning of Soraya M. When I did that movie, lots of people, even Iranian people, they kind of they were not very happy with me. And I told them, they said that I made movies against Islam and Iran. I didn't make movies against Islam. I didn't make movies against Iran.
Yeah.
I made movies against people who are taking advantage of other people's faith and manipulating the rules and laws and trying to control people with some kind of misunderstanding that they have from the religion.
Some perversion that they've in their belief system. How else do you demonstrate it if you don't be that?
That's it.
Yeah.
So for me, by playing those kind of characters, I'm not trying to
You're not condoning it.
Yeah. What I'm
condemning.
doing now, what I'm doing, I'm trying to portray that for you to be able to see that next time when a situation like that happens, ask twice before you go along with it. I mean, there are so many different things that are being said, and sometimes we don't even think. So, okay, if they said that's the way, that should be the way. But to me, I always say, why?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, for us, especially the way that we grew up, the way that we were raised, we always ask questions.
Sure.
We have to ask questions. Why? Why is it supposed to be like that? There is a saying in Islam. One of the religious leaders said, if you're reading a passage that is being translated for you and raises a question, is not because of the word of God, is because of the person who translated that, because God didn't want to hurt his people. So people, they manipulate the words in a way that they want to control it. So for us, if you have a question, ask the question. Say, why is it saying this way? Explain to me. And then you'll find out for yourself.
That kind of brings up an interesting point, though, about your character, because we're saying, like, he is this parallel with Carrie, but Carrie is ultimately trying to be a protector, a barrier to violence. And Abu Nazir, though we can, and Brody, even when we can understand the motivations, they're wanting to commit acts of violence, which obviously we can't get on board with, I hope, most of us.
Yeah, but turn it around and look at the other side. Right. What causes his acts of violence that he comes?
Oh, believe me, I have thought about it, and I do. Like I said, I can understand the motivations. For you said you're trying to get to what his core motivation is. So, what do you think his core motivation is? I mean,
the character.
Yes. Not you.
I know, but you're asking for a character. You need to understand. I will tell you my understanding of the core of the character, but at the same time, the character was created by the creators of the show. So, I brought what I thought the character should have into it. What I believe is that he feels that his land has been taken away from him. He has been just imagine you're a kid, you go outside, there is there are apple trees outside, you climb the trees, and that's your playground. And then the next day, you're walking to go toward the same apple tree, or your kid is walking to go toward the same apple tree, and all of a sudden, boom, there's a landmine that was set there during the war and never got cleaned up. Now, this landmine is responsibility of the person who put it in to go and clean it up. But okay, we are done. We don't need to clean it up.
Right.
So now the person whose child walked out to go and play soccer, and all of a sudden you hear boom, you go and you see that the limb is missing. That person is looking to find out who is responsible for that. And the person who's responsible is the brand that's on that mine. It doesn't matter who put it in. So what we need to do, we need to figure out how we can avoid providing violence. Even if we are not initiating it, how can we stop providing violence in order to not get any kind of retaliation or any kind of violence back?
Right.
I mean, I think that's one of the things that he's fighting for.
All right, I'm gonna just for those of you who are watching, Jenna's gonna have to take off.
So you'll know why I'm not sitting here, but
So, yeah.
Where are you
That's
going?
okay. She has another.
She has an
event
obligation.
An obligation.
Yes.
She
What
has
kind
to.
of obligation is it? Oh, please tell us. Please do tell.
you don't want to know.
Why not?
He
Jenna,
wants to,
thank
he
you
wants
very
to
much for
know.
being here.
Come on, please.
And also, I want to publicly thank you again for taking over last week.
Oh,
when
no
we weren't here,
problem.
so we appreciate that.
And
We'll
thank
see you next
for
week.
being here. This has been like the most fascinating discussion. I don't want to go.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thanks for having me, guys.
Oh, we're not done. She's gonna go.
really?
We're not
I
going.
thought I'm going to the party with her.
Okay. You're going to be 10 minutes behind.
Oh,
so, Jenna's got to run. So thank you again,
Fine,
Jenna. We'll see you
fine.
next week.
Let's go.
All right. So while we're saying our goodbyes to Jenna, we should probably let's also take this moment right now to thank everybody who's been downloading from iTunes. We've got 16 million a week these days,
week.
over 2 million a day.
Yes.
So for all of those of you who have rated and commented, thank you. That's what keeps us going. And please keep doing that. And the other thing that all we ask is download, rate, and comment, and then tell a friend. It's because of you that you've been telling friends that we are now over 2 million a day.
Yes, spread the word.
Yeah, exactly. Share a little love. So thank you for that.
Share the love.
So, and as Roth always mentions,
Please do say nice things.
They always say nice things about you, Roth.
Yay! Well, thank you. Please continue to say nice things.
yes, and thank you for. We'll get back with a few more questions for Naveed, and then we also want to finish up with our discussion about Brody's nervous breakdown and of course
The nervous breakdown.
Let's talk about that real quick, since we haven't talked about that. We've talked about all kinds of manipulation from Abu Nazir, and now it's showing up in the fetal position for Brody and him breaking down. How much of it do you think is real? How much of it is just put on to because he's got to play people?
Oh, I think that breakdown is real.
You think that breakdown's
real? Yeah, because I think
Definitely.
it started. I think it started in the. It's the culmination of these last several years of his life, and he just can't take it anymore. I mean, he's
Right.
just because it started in the argument with Jess, where I can't. He started to devolve. I mean, what's interesting about the breakdown is that his maturity level starts to devolve, and
Yeah,
I think
you can
until
see
he's
that.
ultimately in the fetal position as a
Right.
baby, but he's like, I can't, like a little kid,
Yeah.
you know.
Right.
He's having a little tantrum.
He's having a little tantrum, and he says it just like a little kid. And then he goes and he has this conversation with Roya, who is just as cool as a cucumber,
Yeah.
you know, all the time, like
Right.
scarily so.
Yeah.
And he in that conversation is like, no, I'm done. Forget it. You don't say anything. It's over. Again, he's sounding like a little child, and he's just
Right.
starting to really devolve until, you know. I
Right.
mean, I guess he was in the fetal position earlier, but I think that's what happened to him. It's real.
Yeah, it was real. It was very believable.
But somebody else was making the point that he knew that the CIA was probably listening in,
To the sex, yeah.
Well, to the whole motel thing, and how much of that, if he knew, how much of that was a play?
I mean, I think that the question in those moments is how much is he allowing Carrie to play him? You know what I mean? Because she is. I mean, she's playing him. She's playing the same game with him. Like, but
you know, she's still is not playing him. There's parts of it that just wants the whole thing to happen.
I think so too. But I think that's the interesting thing about these two characters is that half of it is real and half of it is a move, because when Carrie is doing that, sure, she does weirdly want to like go off into the sunset with him, and she does want to be with him and all this other stuff, but she's also making a play to get him back in line, and she is manipulating the same way that Avenue Zero manipulated him.
Not the same way. I never manipulated that.
We don't know
as we've
what
said,
went on that whole.
we haven't seen the whole history yet.
Right, we haven't seen that.
We're not
That's
sure.
why we need the spinoff.
We're not sure. Maybe it was
That's
the
right.
same way. Yeah, we're not sure. Yeah, that's So
I mean, it is Showtime. We might see something. We don't.
She's trying to reach him at that emotional level and hold his hand and say, "I'm here for you. You're hurting. You're not alone. I'm here for you." And that's what he did. I'm here for you. You're not alone.
I think at that point, though, he was really like, I think he was just like, I'm over it. And he was sitting in the bed. He was laying in the bed, and he just took a deep breath.
The relief he had.
And he
on
was
him,
like, that feeling feels so good. And I know what that feels like, not on that level, obviously.
I think
but sometimes
when he said,
you're dealing with so many different things,
Right.
and something happens to relieve that pressure, and you're like,
yeah.
I'm totally overthinking this. I'm overdoing it. Like,
Yeah. Well,
like life is great. Like, why am I stressing so much about, I think he just let it go. He really had let it go.
Right.
And it was really funny when he
Well, I like when he said, "I finally won't have to lie anymore." That's a big relief.
It was like, that has to be the greatest. He was in a trap.
Sure.
This guy was in a glass box with no holes in it. He couldn't breathe. He was suffocating. It was like a glass coffin. He was like, no matter how this turns out, it's not going to be good.
And this is another parallel, because as imprisoned as he was in that hole back in Iraq, or wherever it was, I can't remember, he is just as imprisoned, but he's free.
It was, yeah, he was in Iraq.
But just as imprisoned.
What was really funny was when he said, it was really
Was it
funny.
Afghanistan?
I think he was captured in Afghanistan.
Okay,
captured?
I mean, he was
in the
found
Middle East.
in Afghanistan.
He was found there, yeah.
in the
He was
Middle
found in Afghanistan, but he was captured in
But he
Iraq.
was captured in Iraq, yeah.
Well, regardless of the geography, he was in a hole somewhere. So he was imprisoned for 8 years, whatever.
What was really funny was when he told Carrie, you know how crazy everybody thinks you are?
Yeah, you're
so much more crazy than that.
And I thought that was one of the most honest things he said to her.
That was great.
That was amazing and also really true, because she is. But the thing is, she's crazy like a fox, because I'll tell you this, even in the moment that I love Carrie, as you guys know, but even in the moment that I was starting to lose faith in her and going like, "You crazy bee, what are you doing? Get back in that van," she was still right.
Right.
She was still right. They should have taken them down in that moment, because in comes this helicopter, and you just lost your asset that knows what the CIA knows, and they're going back to, you just lost everything because you didn't listen to the crazy girl
they'll
again.
get him back.
Again.
You think they should have got him, took him right there?
Oh no, I think it's so much better to have him in Abu Nazir's hands. What are you talking about? Of course they should have taken them right
But
there.
he's going to have to show his hand somewhere. He's going to have to come out of the woodwork somewhere. He's part of the plan.
Why? If
Then
they
we
would
wouldn't
have,
have
if they would
Exactly.
have captured him, it would. There's no way. I mean, everything is
would've-
very time.
Exactly.
Right, exactly. But
no,
now,
they should let it play out, because he's going to have to poke his
Well,
head
first
out.
of all, there's no way to know. It's all speculation.
Right.
We're just speculating at this point. We're doing predictions.
Speaking of, we might as well move on to that.
I
I've got
was
this
thinking
thing
that
we
you
gotta-
were trying to wheel me in.
We have to move on to predictions
AfterBuzz TV.
because we're going long.
Not until now.
All right, well, let's do this as a prediction. So
Yeah,
you
well,
think that it's a good idea that they?
To me, in that moment, she's saying, "Get him, get him, get him, get him," because something really
Right.
terrible is about to happen. They're either going to shoot him in the head
Right.
or be gone, and they were gone. Here comes this helicopter, and they're gone. I'm saying whether it works out or not, it's a tremendous risk to have Brody out of your control.
Clearly, but high
For
risk,
the-
high reward. I mean, he would never have been in the
I know, but
presence of
But in that
Nazir. I called him.
moment, the right
Getting
call.
the character in the.
However it turns out, which it probably will turn out that they'll be able to turn it around and make it work for them. But however it turns out, in that moment, Carrie was right, which was that we should contain this right now or we're about to lose our asset, who has information about us. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm not arguing it. I hear you, and I'm not debating.
I mean,
even when she's wrong, she's right.
But you think she's right about everything.
No, I don't. I thought she was wrong until I saw she was right.
Yeah, I think even though she kind of suspected something was going to happen, I think what went down the way it should have gone. Because he's going to have to poke his head out. If they went ahead and nabbed him right there on the spot,
then he would have left.
Yeah, they would have been gone. Then we're like, oh, the CIA is, they're telling him, blah, 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 blah.
He might have not have stuck around.
And then he's not going to get, he had no valuable information to give them either because he hasn't been briefed about what's going to occur. He has to come back.
Yeah.
You can just point.
He has to come back out.
You don't have to tell us anything. You can just point to me.
I've learned my lesson. I think women are always right.
Well, it'll be like she mostly.
Don't argue. There's no way that you're going to win.
Whatever.
Why
that's
argue?
true.
Listen,
Exactly.
even though Carrie knew what was going to happen, she always knows what's going to happen. But she was wrong to want to get him. It's better to let him go.
No.
You nab him. What happens if you nab him? Now they know.
No.
All right. Oh, we're getting the music. Well,
He has to come back out.
All right.
though.
All right. This
He's a
discussion
congressman.
will continue
He
even
has
though
to
we're
come
off
back.
the air. I want to thank Naveed so much for joining us.
Thank
we
you
would
so much.
love to have you back. It was a
Naveed.
pleasure to have you and your insight. And you do such a fabulous job on the show. We can't wait to see more. And of course, do your writing campaign because we want to see the backstory.
House of Nazir.
The family Nazirs.
Yeah,
See
why
if we
don't you
get that
guys
going
start
on.
writing about it?
We'll get that going
Keeping
on.
up with the Nazirs.
All right, so let everybody know where they can find you, Ross.
You can find me on Twitter at @JRossi. That's at JROTHC. And you can find my work on IGN.com. And you can start the backstory Abu Nazir hashtag with me right
There
now.
you go. Thaddeus, let them know.
You can find me on Twitter at Club Thaddeus, CLUBTHADDEUS.
Yeah, and Rob, please tell us where they can find Jenna.
You can find Jenna at Jenna Bush. That's JENNBUSCH, like the beer, not the president, as she likes to say. And you can find her work on Fanhattan.
And Naveed, should fans look for you just on the TV show? What else is coming up for you? Do we want to talk about anything? Or I know you've been traveling a lot. You've been working like crazy.
I've been trying. I've been trying to put a play together.
Okay, go.
I will let you know. I
Great.
will let you know.
Well, when it happens, come back here and tell everybody about it. We'll make sure we're...
Where can people find you on Twitter?
Naveed Negapur.
There you go.
Oh,
There you go.
and if you don't know how to spell it, just type in Naveed. They will come up.
Or Nazir.
Sorry, yeah.
Just Abu Nazir.
There's also Facebook page.
There you go.
No, Facebook page.
There you go.
See, I can't even talk.
That's
See,
right.
that's how.
All right.
You guys
so
come over.
Plenty
Come
of
to
places to
Naveed.
find him. And we'll be seeing him next week for sure on Homeland. So that'll be looking forward to that.
You know,
All right. All right. Thank you very much for tuning
Thank
in.
you so
We
much.
will talk to you next time.
Thank you.
From
thanks.
Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.